Welcome students to a new video series dealing with leaves. In fact, one of the most important parts of a leaf in the sense that that's the area of photosynthesis. So, what are leaves? How do you define leaves? Leaves are the exogenous lateral flattened outgrowths of a plant. So exogenous basically means it's outside of the main plant body, or it's coming from the main plant body. In this case, the stem is lateral in the sense that you mostly have an upper and lower surface, and of course it's flattened, and it's an outgrowth, which means that it's distinguishable, it's coming out. A second key point is that it develops on the nodes of a stem or its branches. So another point is that mostly the buds, buds develop from the axils of a leaf. That's the area between the leaf and the stem. So the development of a flower, the development of an inflorescence is mostly comes from, that development is usually arising from the axil. Another fourth important point is that leaves develops from the shoot apical meristem. So what is the tissue from which leaves develop? That is the meristem. It is seen at the apex or the tip of the shoot. And at another important point, of course it's quite well known, is that leaves are the sites of photosynthesis because of the presence of chlorophyll, that is the green pigment. And this is in a manner one of the most important processes which is meant to utilize to trap the energy which is there in the sunlight. So that's very important. And we are looking at a diagram of a typical leaf to get a further idea about the morphological features. What are the key features of a leaf in the sense that how is its structure made up? So when we look at a leaf, a typical leaf growing out of a stem, we can divide that into three sections: the leaf base, or petiole, and the leaf blade. Of course, the leaf blade, the flattened portion, meant for mostly that's a region which is meant for photosynthesis. So you have the petiole, which connects the leaf to the stem, and of course we have a bud which is coming out of the axil. You have some small outgrowths at the base, which is a stipule. The lamina, that is the mostly flattened area which is green colored for photosynthesis. You have the midrib, which contains the vascular tissues for conduction of minerals, water, etc. And of course, you have the margin and the apex. And lamina, the technical name is Epipodium. Now, leaves on the manner in which they develop and occur on the stem of a plant, you can usually see two surfaces. One surface which is facing towards the sunlight, which is facing upper, that's the Adaxial surface, that's the upper surface, and the lower surface, which is called the Abaxial surface, the lower surface, which is in a manner facing away from the sunlight or facing towards the bottom. Now, based on this manner, based on this way of leaf development from a stem, we can actually categorize leaves into two. That is, those cases in which the adaxial and abaxial, that is the upper surface and the lower surface, is quite similar, which means that you don't see much differences on the upper and the lower surface. So, such leaves are called isobilateral leaves, and it's a characteristic of mostly monocotyledonous plants, which means that in the seedling stage they are only one cotyledon. And cases in which the upper surface and the lower surface has characteristic differences, which means the adaxial and the abaxial surface have differences. We call such leaves dorsiventral, and here such leaves are mostly seen in the case of dicots. That is, when the seedlings grow, you have two cotyledons. So Dicots, mostly dicots, you have dorsiventral leaves. Now let's look at some other key features as far as the leaf is concerned. And here we are looking at the petiole, that is the part which connects the leaf to the plant body, usually the stem. The technical name, the botanical name for petiole is a Mesopodium, so note that point. And so it's a supportive organ. It's an organ which supports the leaf. So nothing much to explain in that part. And biology, for those leaves having petiole, we call it them petiolate. And for leaves which don't have a petiole, we call them sessile. So sessile leaves means that there isn't a petiole, there isn't a structure which is connecting the leaf to the stem or the main plant body. So having petiole, petiolate. Not having petiole, it's called sessile. So that's some important points as far as the petiole is concerned. Now let's go on to the part which connects the leaf to the stem, which of course is the leaf base. And here its technical name is Hypopodium, so note that point. And in most cases there's some lateral outgrowths. So usually two small lateral outgrowths which are called stipules. We'll be looking in detail at stipules just now shortly. So the function is leaf base, of course, connects the leaf to the stem. So as I already mentioned, in most leaves you can see two small lateral outgrowths which are called stipules. And stipules, there are certain modifications which is the thing which we'll be looking at just now. So note the point about stipules. They are usually on the stem. So note that point. It's not like stipules are coming out of the petiole or the any other part of the leaf. So in this aspect, there is a term which we shouldn't confuse with, which is called ligule. So what is a ligule? Ligule is not something related to stipple. So ligule is an outgrowth between the leaf base and the lamina. So note that point. And ligules are a characteristic feature of the grass family. That's the Gramineae family. Gramineae, a very important family because a lot of the pulses belong to this family. So as I already mentioned, let's have a more detailed look at stipules and have a look at what kind of stipule modifications are seen in different plants. So what are stipules? Stipules are the lateral outgrowth from the base of the leaf. So that's something which we already discussed. So the lateral outgrowth from the leaf base. Second part is that, so what is the function of the leaf stipule? Stipule protects the young leaf and its axillary bud. So when the leaf is developing as an exogenous outgrowth from the stem, stipule plays the role of protecting it. So that's a key function. Now, in this aspect, there's an interesting term, and there's a high chance that we may something like confuse this term with stipules. It's called stipels. So what are stipels? Stipels are lateral outgrowths at the leaf base, which is seen in some compound leaves. So stipels are a kind of lateral outgrowths, and like stipules, they are seen at the leaf base, and then it's usually seen in the case of some compound leaves. Compound leaves, will be covering that particular topic detailed in another video. And stiples, some notable examples, some notable plant species, plant specimens, we see them are beans, Flytoria, and Vicia. So let's look at what are the kinds of stipule modifications and what are the terminology. First, we are looking at foliaceous. The name itself indicates what its basic meaning. That is, it's something like a bunchy leaf-like structure. So a leaf-like greenish growth. That's the point. So stipules become something like greenish. A lot of stipules are growing to the something like a condensed stuff. So that's called foliaceous. Notable examples of Physacium and Lythyrosome. Second kind is what is called Adnate. Now Adnate, here both the stipules, we know that usually there are two stipules, so both the stipules are attached to the petiole. So that's a key point. So here the stipules are attaching to the petiole rather than being something like separated and distinguishable. And a very common examples of such an adnate stipules are rose and lupin. Another stipule modification is that the stipules become spines. That is, sharp spines, basically meant to protect the stem from maybe foraging animals, things like that. So that's spines and spines, acacia, sisyphus. And yet another modification of stipules is that they become tendril or something like a spring-like structure, long spring-like structure, basically meant for climbing and support. A notable example is smilax. And and yet another very interesting development as far as stipules is concerned is Ochreate. So what is Ochreate? Ochreate is the development of stipule in which both stipules join together to form something like a tube-like structure. So we know that usually there are two stipules. Here they are fusing together. They are joining together to form something like a tubular structure. And two notable examples are Polygonium and Romex. So that's the key kind of variations or the modification of stipules. And in the next video we'll be looking at what is called phyllotaxy. So phyllotaxy basically means the manner in which leaves are arranged. So what are the ways in which leaves are arranged? So thanks for watching this video, and if you feel it's nice and good, do subscribe to our channel and like and share. Thanks.